All right, what's up, Victor? How's it rocking and rolling over there in Haystack?
Good. I'm doing good.
So why did you want to start a podcast? You like talking?
Yeah, well, I was doing YouTube when I was little, and
Ah,
then in middle school I started actually like the end of sixth grade I started a podcast, and then I just gave up on it because then I started doing haircuts. So
those
I
are
already had
both.
experience.
I like that. I like you already. So why'd you start a podcast in sixth grade? And how old are you or what grade are you now?
I'm a ninth grader now.
Ninth grade?
I started a podcast in sixth grade because I always want because I don't know I just wanted to do it, and then my friend, he was an editor. He went to photography and editing school. And so he showed me how to edit my videos and all that stuff, how to edit podcasts, how to sync up my mic and stuff. So he showed me how to do it, and I got more interested into doing it.
So this program came to you naturally.
Yeah.
So when you looked at the Notes for Notes employer, what did you react with?
First, I skipped notes for notes, right? And then I was looking at it because I was like reading the different stuff. And notes for notes, I was like, hold on, let me save this for last, right? So then I looked at it because
Ah,
I thought I was gonna like it already. So when I looked at it and seen that it was like a podcast, I was like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do it.
sweet. So what's the podcast about? What's the topic of interest here?
We just did. I got some of my friends to do sports, basically, just to talk
Okay.
about sports.
Yep. I think actually there's a good amount of them that are kind of sports oriented. What do you feel like you like the most about sports and have most opinions about and have the most ideas about?
Well,
What
it's
part?
because since I was like in the third grade, I've been playing sports, so I've already have interest towards it. I played football, soccer, baseball, basketball, which I'm playing right now, and so I'm already familiar to it. Plus, not only that, I watch a lot of sports, TV and stuff, so it's already interesting to me. So I just decided to do it.
So you're basically you've been thinking about this since you're super young. You play it yourself, you do sports yourself. And do you geek out on stats and do you geek out on players coming in? Do you geek out when there's incoming players? Why are you fascinated? And why are you fascinated with sports and what are you fascinated by?
So ever since I was little, I've always watched my dad do sports. Uh, he's like watched sports, he's coached sports, you know. So I've always like looked up to the big sports players and how good they are. And like when I look at their stats and stuff, or like people on my team, especially like the people that I root for, and I see that they're doing like really, really good, then I'm like very motivated to do the same.
Sweet. Okay. And you have do you have team members on your team doing this podcast?
Nope.
Just you and then you had guests and stuff, right?
Yeah, I had a group of friends that I texted like 30 minutes before I did the podcast. And like, yeah, let's do it.
Dope. And then when you're in sixth grade, what did you start a podcast on?
I can't really remember right now. I think I was just talking like just yeah, I was just trying to connect.
And did you have guests on, or just you talking to people and posting it?
My first episode, I did it by myself, and then I invited a few guests.
Okay. In your sixth grade, when you were sixth grade,
Yeah, I had like a professional setup. I
how'd you get into podcasting in sixth grade? Like,
like I said, my friend, he was older than me. He was in 10th grade, and he was doing photography and film and editing and all that stuff and podcasts. It was he was taking a class and then an outside class. So I think he was doing it for a college thing, right? So he ended up liking it, and so he showed me how to do it. And while he was showing me, he was still taking classes, so I was just learning off of him. So I got interested into doing it.
so sports is a big topic. There's a lot of people commenting on sports, a lot of probably podcasts about sports. So when it comes to starting a podcast around this topic, what value do you think you bring to the conversation when it comes to sports, specifically in your audience too, that you're serving or that you're talking to, or your friends and people who follow you on Instagram or YouTube or whatever?
I was just talking with my friends, like honestly talking about sports. I didn't really have a big topic. I was just like whatever sports related, we could just put it in there and we'll roll with it. And then if we did like 3 takes, so we kept choosing different topics to talk about. And then the big one that we ended up choosing was LeBron because he just won. So he was on like his head was super high. I'm not a LeBron fan. I had 4 other friends that are not LeBron fans, and I had one friend that was. So like it made good.
Yeah, when people get talk, by the way, I am not a sports fan at all.
No, not nothing.
Nothing. I don't care at all. It's cool. It's impressive. It's interesting. I wish I liked it, but I just didn't get into it. I lived, my family members didn't watch it. I have 2 older sisters that never watched it. So I never got into it, never started watching it. And that's that. And so, but when people start talking about sports, dude, when they're interested in sports, it gets heated sometimes.
um, yeah, you. I didn't edit it out. I just left raw podcast in there.
Yeah.
So you might hear some of my friends like getting.
I already heard your podcast.
One of my friends specifically that does not like LeBron. He says some few words, but it's all right.
I don't have an opinion on that. I just know that we have to be careful with it because we have legal obligations. And so I'd recommend you hosting it all on your own channel, which I think it is, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's yours, and when it comes to be part of our program, we may ask you to edit something. I don't know. I don't know how we're going to approach it.
It's fine. I can edit out all that stuff. It's just because it was for mine. So I was just like, all right. Because I was already planning on redoing a podcast about sports. And then I seen your guys' stuff. So I was like, oh, I might as well just do my podcast with you guys too.
For sure.
Yeah.
I don't want to put any rules on it though. That's part of kind of my mentality. Like I enjoy the raw, conversation. So I want it to be that. I don't know what that means though for our program and how like we do need to put some because we don't need people coming back to us saying, hey, I heard a bad word in there.
I told my friends though before we started not to cuss. It's just I don't know. It's because they were arguing, and he said something. I was like, oh man.
It wasn't terrible. It's just bad words in a podcast, right? Yeah. So I think people hear enough of that. So it's kind of like, okay. So do what you can, please, and then we'll just work from there. Okay. So how many did you do during the program? How many podcasts did you do during the program itself?
I just focused on just that one podcast.
Okay.
But I switched up my topic like a few times.
That's cool.
Up because I was just brainstorming with my friends. I was like, what were they comfortable with working with me? Like what topics? So we all just came because we're all sports fans. So we're like, let's do sports.
I'm down. So after doing that one, and after some thought after doing that one, and even talking to me right now and thinking about it, or thinking about yourself and all that stuff, do you have a direction of how you'd like to evolve your podcast to be?
Yeah, honestly, I would like to do like anything that's evolve out of sports, basically. Like anything that's hot right now, I would like to talk about that. Like how people do like you know who Aiden Ross is?
Who?
Aiden Ross.
Is he a YouTuber?
He's a Twitch streamer. He invites people onto his podcast and talks about like the latest topics. And he also like collabs with like famous people and stuff. I'm not saying that right now because I'm still small, but I would like to like invite people, like talk about different topics like sports, music, and like everything.
That's awesome. I like that, and I'm glad you said that. Would you do it on Twitch or would you do it on YouTube?
I would do it on Twitch.
Yeah, I
Twitch,
want you to do it on Twitch actually.
yeah, Twitch is easier to get your fan base up.
Do you do game too?
Yeah, I'm actually a pretty good gamer.
Uh-oh. So you do have a lot of other topics you want to talk about besides sports.
Yeah, I just overall a lot. But I would like to if I were to do gaming, I would do like a separate channel for that.
Interesting. Because gaming's too big on Twitch and you need to position that in its own right,
Yeah,
right?
because if you have, because I wouldn't be able to keep up on the same channel as like what days I'm gonna do podcasts, what days I'm gonna do games. Like it would be like too much. So if I just have one like where I'm doing podcasts, and then like when I play, then I just stream that gameplay, then it would be easier for me.
Well, at some point, that's just gaming. That's just streaming your game, and then there's a podcast, right? They are essentially two things. But you would have podcasts talking about games, though, right?
Yeah, I would.
Okay, so that would be the podcast side, essentially, right?
Yeah,
Just
honestly,
both
what
on
I
Twitch.
would do to make them both, I would do like commentary over my gameplays. Like you know, have you watched YouTube like people doing like gameplays while they're talking about different subjects and just
Yeah.
having it run in the back? Yeah, that's what I would do.
I like that format, like because you're talking about sports, music, games, things that you can enjoy together with your guests,
Hmm.
right? While you do it together, right? So I don't know how that probably is super distracting, right? Like we don't need people talking over each other when they're listening to music, right? We don't need people, like talking too much when they're playing an intensive game. We don't need people talking too much when they're watching sports. But maybe sports is probably the best one for that. So that is an interesting idea of a podcast. Is the podcast becomes you and your friends doing something together and then just riffing, right?
What was it?
So however you like to position it, I don't really. I just think it's cool, and I'd like to start watching it myself, right? And just hop in and see what you're up to.
I told my friends, if I end up getting a position with you guys to do podcasts, that I would for sure make them my teammates, and I'll like do like a podcast where we just invite different people. Cause I don't know, for me personally, that was very interesting. 5 teenagers just talking about random stuff, and they're all mad at each other. Content.
You may want. Have you thought about that being too many people?
Yeah. I know. I want to limit it down to 3. Honestly, like 3 or 4 people. 3 or 4 people.
I think that's a fair number because five. I don't know. I don't. I think there's no rules with podcasts, right? But I just know that when people are trying to listen to something, they don't need too many people talking to each other at the same time, you know. So, but it's also dependent on the skill level, right, of the main podcaster,
The
right?
podcast that I did, I only had. I think I had 4 people. 4. Yeah, 4 people on my thing. So it wasn't. Everybody was getting to talk. You know. So it wasn't
You
that.
can also you can also consider, I don't know, this it's all up to you. I don't really care. But you can have like a main host, co-host, like a main host or two, like co-host with you, and then there's just some very regular guests, right?
Yep.
And it comes down to people who are committed to doing it too with you, right?
Yeah, a lot. My friends are down to do whatever. Like whatever. Like basically, we'll do whatever each other wants to do.
That sounds fun, man. They're all from Hayward.
Yep, they all literally live like 2 minutes away from me.
Ooh, one of those squads. Okay.
And
Okay.
our parents are all cool with each other, so
Interesting.
yeah.
Are you all are there cousins in there?
Nope.
No
My
cousins.
parents are cool.
That sounds fun, man. Um, I wish I was a kid again. Um, so I think you're gonna be fine. I think you're gonna do great. This sounds fun. This sounds fun for you. It sounds fun for your friends. I'm glad we're doing this program. I'm excited about a lot of the programs, to be honest, right? Um, it's hard to choose the top one. I'm excited about the seed one. but I'm excited about this one. And so I don't know. I'm excited, dude. Honestly, I'm just really liking how our program's evolving because we're having all these other employers that students actually have interest in, like podcasting, right? Like it makes me excited that you're excited and thinking about it more, you know? Like that makes me super, it makes me want to watch what you're going to talk about, right? Um, so what about promotion? How are you going to build your, are you going to, do you care about your audience base or fan base? I'm sure you want to grow it, but
Yeah.
do you care more about that than the conversations or the experience? I don't know. Like, how are you thinking about promotion and building an audience? And
If I was gonna build an audience, I'm like very entrepreneur.
thinking about,
So I know how to build an audience fast. I've sold shoes before. I kind of off and on the reselling.
I feel it.
Cause I'm not trying to be a culture vulture with the shoes. So I'm like kind of off and on. I know how to build a platform already. I've had like I think 700 followers on my shoe account. I've had like
Ooh.
800 followers on my personal account. I've I don't really care about followers. It's just I rather network with people. You know,
Mhm.
followers I really don't care about. As long as you're interested in what I'm doing, it's fine. When I did YouTube, I think I did YouTube for like 2 months, and then I had some stuff that was going on, so I had to stop it. So the most I had was like 300 followers, I think.
Okay. Cool, man. That's good to hear that you're a natural salesperson. Now, let's and it's okay that a lot of people have this weird taste about sales. And to be honest, dude, sales is a fun thing to do, because at the end of the day, it's you're everyone's selling all the time, you
Yeah,
know.
especially in the sneaker game right now. I don't know if you're up to date on sneakers and stuff. There's like just so many new resellers in the game right now, and because of them, like the shoes are going up higher, so people are wanting them more, more, and more, and more, and more. Is just going up.
How big of a market share does Yeezy have compared to Jordans right now?
I'm not 100% sure. Personally, me, I'm not really into Yeezys no more. Because Kanye, the person that's been making them, he's just been re-releasing old pairs of shoes that weren't supposed to be released no more. So they're just the value in the Yeezys went down. Same in the Human Races, the Pharrell Williams. Those are really really high at one point, and since he just kept releasing and releasing the same colorways, they just went drop too. So I'm not really into those either.
You said Pharrell had a line.
Yeah, he had the Human Races,
Human race.
and so there was some going for like I think like 8,000, 7,000 somewhere. There was like some high pair, and he just kept releasing pairs, same colorways, re-release them, and they just dropped. So I'm not really into the Yeezy or none of that stuff. I'm just more into the Jordans.
Okay.
You know?
Well, yeah, I used to paint shoes, so I used to get like SBs. I think I painted on some 13s before.
SB,
And
dude, that's a big market right now.
I'm actually kind of happy that SBs are still kind of big, you know.
They got big in like these past 2 years again because I remember nobody was liking them, and then I forgot what pair they released, but they just went phew, and they're not stopping. They're just going up and up and up and up. Especially like the older releases, like the Tiffany's, the blue and black.
Diamonds.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like the older Stussy ones, like
Yeah.
the older Supreme ones, the older collabs and stuff.
Yeah.
Definitely like those. The older, like they're like a creamish orange ones. They're like they
Oh,
have like
Halloween. The Halloweens, I think it's called, or something like that. Or Giants ones.
those are just like yeah, they're going up. Especially the older releases that nobody wanted.
Yeah, that's actually very fascinating that dunks are still pretty big. And SBs came out after dunks, right? Because of the skateboarding, because skaters, bought dunks and they said, okay, well, that's a market. Let's put SB on it. So, and then they started in new boxes and new colorways.
Boxes are crazy now.
Huh?
Like the boxes are crazy now. Like you know
Do
the
people
chunky
buy
dunky.
boxes?
Um, they buy the shoes, but they rather get the ones with the exclusive boxes.
What color is that? The is it the purple and black one, or is it some other one
No,
with the
they all get random. Like if you get the exclusive box, they all have random designs. Like, do you know what the chunky dunkies are?
no?
The ones that are the Ben and Jerry collab.
Okay, I think I've heard of the Ben and Jerry one. Yeah.
Yeah, Ben and Jerry collab. The exclusive box itself is an actual Ben and Jerry container, and then you put the shoes in there.
But it's circular.
Yeah, and then it comes with like this Ben and Jerry bag, like this little shoe shovel and stuff. It's like it's pretty cool.
That's dope. I
And
like it.
then the Travis Scott ones that came out, this SB Dunks,
Uh-huh.
the box it comes with like the bandana, like because the shoe is like a bandana, like a black and white bandana,
Uh-huh.
and the on the box of the lid, it's a bandana with like wood at the bottom,
With what at the bottom?
like a picture of wood, like wood, like it's
Oh,
like
yeah, yeah,
a
yeah.
box.
Mhm.
It looks like it's in a wooden box with a bandana covering
Man, you're bringing me back. You're bringing me back to the past here.
it.
I spent so much money on shoes, and then just sat all in a
Yeah.
sat somewhere. You know.
Well, my dad was he spent like he used to get every hype release, and then recently he sold his whole collection.
Huh.
He just got tired of it. He kept like a few of them. He's like, yeah, these gotta go.
At least he sold them and make some money.
Yeah, he has some pretty rare ones.
Huh. How old's your dad, by the way? Because I must be getting older. Because if your dad has Nikes and Dunks and Jordans and stuff, that means he's probably in his 40s.
38. He got late.
Dang.
30s.
Dang. Okay. Yeah. So Victor, I'm juiced about your developments on your podcast. I'm excited about it, and I will let you know that for the Notes for Notes employer,
Mm-hmm.
what they're interested in is you being interested in your podcast.
Oh, I'm interested.
So that's key, and should be a lot of fun. And we'll release interviews next week, so look out for those.
Okay.
And yeah, we're gonna have some fun this year. I'm excited about re-promoting your all the Notes for Notes podcasts that the students make, and it's all yours too. They're not looking to keep nothing, right? It's all you guys. They just want to help you.
I'm a little nervous though, cause I got some competition. Like my teacher, he was showing us some people that did Notes for Notes. Some of their stuff is pretty good. Like
Yeah.
yeah, it was like I'm a little scared.
Don't be. Key things are, keep thinking about your project, refine it, make it look good, and have fun, right? And it's going to speak for itself, right? It's going to all speak for itself. So don't sweat it. Just have fun, keep communicating it, share your passion. You should do just great. Yeah. Do you have any questions for me?
No, I'm fine.
Cool, man. Nice to meet you. I look forward to having you part of the program, potentially. And I guess this is also for credit, right? So you can show Mr. Charles something that you've done too, so you can get your credit. But more importantly, build on your podcast.
Mr. Charles he's a good teacher. Like the only I was kind of scared of doing PilotCity because he told me there was a lot of people doing it and stuff, and he kind of pushed me to do it. So he's one of the big reasons why I'm actually doing this. Because I was a little scared at first, but he helped me.
What are you scared about?
I don't know. It just seemed like overwhelming, but he pushed me to do it, and it's been good.
You glad you did it, yeah?
Yeah. Yep. Sure am.
And let me ask you a final question. The Your perception beforehand and that kind of fear of it, and then being in it and being auto applied. What's the difference between your feelings and emotions, and why?
I was like, at first, I was like kind of scared because the interviews and the internships and stuff. I'm not usually. I'm very like outgoing. I could get along with a lot of people, but like the internships kind of scared me because I'm gonna be working with actual. Um, I don't know how to say like actual employers and stuff, and like I've never actually worked for an actual employer. I've always done something for myself by myself. So knowing that I was gonna have to work for somebody, I was a little like hesitant. But now I'm rolling with it.
By the way, the notes for notes ones can be a different kind of employer. All of them are kind of different. And but this is the key thing here, right? Just look at all the employers, right? Look at Gerardo. Look at, these tech company people. Look at me. Look at just look at them and then imagine them to be your age because they were once your age, right? Your dad used to be probably like me, you know. If you like dunks, you probably had some friends that smoked weed too, like stuff like that, right? Not saying that I'm promoting weed. That's not what I'm doing. I'm saying that everyone was young before, right? And everyone, I live in the East Bay, you know, I live in San Leandro, everyone has lived your age before, right? And so just note that, right? That when you work with adults, just see them as kids, because in there they have been one, and they've experienced it already. And when they nod at you when you say something when you say a bad word on a podcast or whatever, they've said bad words themselves.
Yeah,
Like
I know.
most likely. So what I'm saying might be taboo to say, but it's the truth, right? And don't be afraid. And the key thing here is be the best version of yourself, right? And I think that's the key for it all. Just be the best. Just focus on you, and be the best person you can be, because that's what the employers and anyone who's older than you want you to be, right? The best version of yourself. And that's all you should be afraid of is yourself, I would say, right? So, Victor, pleasure talking to you. Pleasant conversation and pleasant surprise to meet more Rick Charles students who have very thoughtful ideas and thoughtful, interactions. I've been trying to get more Hayward students in our program for so long, dude. So I'm just happy that Hayward students are gravitating towards things that they like in our program, and that you're doing what you're doing, and that we can help you to make that happen. Same with Notes for Notes. Same with Notes for Notes. They just want to help you. They're not going to tell you what to do. You're going to tell you what to do, and they're going to help you if you need it, right?
One thing I can say about Mr. Charles, though, just to end it off, he's a
Yeah.
big advocate for you guys. He's a big fan of your guys' program. He was all the kids that was like, I don't know if I should do it. He told us a lot of stuff about your program, and like he helped us like start it up. He showed us like how to do it and all this stuff, and he was like just telling us how good of a team you guys are, how like that it would be good for us for you guys to help us. And like he was just like, I don't know how to explain it, but he was hyping you guys up.
I'm glad. Thanks for sharing that. I've gotten to know some of Rick Charles's former alumni and students.
Mhm.
And from my understanding and what I've seen and what I've heard, Rick Charles is well known in his community for a reason, right? And so I'm excited to work with his students, including yourself. So keep it up. Talk to you soon. Don't be nervous, and keep going with courage and confidence. All right.
Yeah.
All right, Victor. I'll talk to you later. Okay.
Okay.